Hi, I'm Oliver Strauss, and I would like to show off the project that I built with my colleagues, Alex Myska and Brandon Knautz. It is a generated crossword game. Here is our main page. You can view the About Us, and you can visit our GitHubs and things like that from there. This front end is built in JavaScript, and our back end is going to be built in Python. We use the ChatGPT OpenAI API to communicate with ChatGPT and help us generate these hints that you can see on the right. So our backend generates the words that are being passed in to the API, and then we're sending those to the front end to build this kind of game out. So we can kind of just play this like a regular crossword here. We can hit one of the hints and it will highlight where it goes. So we have this blue one for gradually stops breastfeeding, and then we have, if you press space, it is the other one on the same tile. So I'm guessing this is wean off of, if I had to take a guess. If we ever need to check, we can hit auto check. Okay, so I was wrong. But you can kind of see how the game will be played out like that. So like here's an example. We have a casual phrase for it's okay. On the downs, we press space. And I would think it's probably no problem. So we have that in there. And we continue playing, or we can hit an auto check like I talked about. So that's correct. And we know that, and we can kind of just keep going. Land for pasture, grazing animals. Also, the auto check is toggled on right now. So as I fill this out, yep, pasture, it'll highlight blue. And then we can turn it off, of course, and then goes back into normal functionality. Um, we also have this reveal tile feature. If you ever just want to look at one specific tile, it'll give you that. And then also we have this reveal grid, which will kind of expose the whole thing. So there you go. You can kind of see the whole filled out thing. So this is kind of the idea of our game that we built out. You can also return the menu, and then there's also options for different sizes that we can play. So yeah, if we step into the code here, um, this is one of the largest projects ever built in code. There was a lot going into it, so the first thing we kind of thought about was the back end, what kind of things would have to go into making this work. Like the class structure. We all have a lot of object-oriented programming experience, so we kind of thought about it like that at first because it was very comfortable. So here you can kind of see our hierarchy that we built in the back end. We have a cell class that is holding like X, Y pairs, and then we have children of that to kind of specify exactly what it is. So we have a block cell, so those are the ones that you notice that are black. And then we have a letter cell, so that's going to be a generic XY that also holds a letter. And then we have an index cell, which is very important, and those are ones where word starts. So that's going to be able to hold what word is in it, is going to be hold like what letter it starts with, also its length of the word, and like the direction, which is very important. And then we also have hybrid cells, which contain two index cells, because hybrid cells are the cells that make up two words. You have it across and you have it down. So it's really important that we kind of sketch this idea out before putting anything to code. Like we really planned very meticulously what we're gonna do while going in. We spent a lot of time also thinking about the algorithms that we would need. So like here we can kind of see we have a lot of pseudocode about kind of how we're gonna fill out the bridge. So our backend completely finds all the words that need to go where it is. That's no help of AI. We can actually see the database of words that we used. We have this words database. So we used a helper function. So or we had a giant list of words. They weren't in any particular order. I think they were a couple 100,000 long or something. And then we had this database convert.py. So this file essentially took in that database and then helped put it in directories. And they were organized by first at what letter they had at the beginning. So if it started with A, it'd be in the A folder. And then we specifically specified the length. So this helped greatly reduce the time when we were searching for words to put inside of our game, of course. So we can go into like A word 7, and that's going to be any word that starts with A, and it has 7 letters. And that's going to be across all of these. So the bread and butter kind of choosing words is knowing how long it needs to be and knowing the first letter. Or if we don't know the first letter, we'll choose a random one. And then we search through and find a word that would fit within the letters that are already taken up, kind of. So like I said, we you had a front end built in JavaScript. So this is the first time any of us have worked with languages talking with each other or communicating with like a back end front end setup. So I as the person who specialized in the front end, so there were like three main parts of this project that we're looking at: the actual AI work, the back end, and then the front end. So I read some documentation about Flask, and I set up this kind of route here. So this file, this is our actual main. So if you see, like in grid 9 here, so we're getting some data from the back end from this run function, and then we're passing in render template with all those functions, and then that's what's running the actual web page. And this is very interesting to learn about. Really cool, I guess, to see the data talking to each other, something I've never done before in any of my classes. So yeah, that's very cool. So if we hop into the actual code here, we can see the class hierarchy I was talking about. We have grid here. That's going to be made up of a bunch of cells. So as you can see, it's just very specified on each thing. The size, word, list, the blocked cells, so the ones that have black in them. Um, and then we also have this AI test. So this is where the actual prompts are being generated. And then you can see right here, this is the actual prompt that we're feeding into ChatGPT. And then it generates us this list of hints that we can then pull and then extract the data from. So we say, generate a crossword hint for following separated by commas. And then we insert uh, the actual words that we found. And then we're saying make each cryptic / simple, and then keep each hint to a single line. And we separate it by this specifically. So then when we split the string, we know what to look for, and we can easily get an array of those pretty much. If we hop into the JS file, so this was pretty much completely written by me. I didn't really have any experience with JS before this, honestly. I kind of just went into it, figuring out stuff as I went. Watched a lot of YouTube videos, but basically, it's nothing insane. It's all in one file, and it's basically just hosting all the UI elements that you saw. Like here, we're initializing the actual uh, grid, like with the tiles that I call them here. We have helper functions that are checking if the actual tile is valid, like an XY pair. And there's just a lot that goes into this to make it work. A lot of GUI design and stuff like that. I really enjoy doing this though. I've never, like I said, never really done anything like it. And I'll definitely look to work with more JS in the future. Probably, probably build off just vanilla JS because I've heard it's just not the best. Of course, we have all the action listeners for the buttons. So these are just assigning these button clicks to functions. So we have the auto check, the reveal button, the reveal tile, and the restart button, which we kind of talked about and you saw. You can just see how they are actually used. So like on reveal, click here. We are looking through and pretty much just setting all of the open tiles that are not black to the actual letter that we discovered. And the main thing that this game.js file is being passed in, if we can actually look here. If we go into, let's say, 9 by 9. So if we look at the data that's actually being passed into the front end, which I think is very interesting, we essentially have this JSON-friendly dictionary set up, which is basically just for each tile, it's getting something very important, or this is for each index cell specifically. So this is where a word would start. So we have like 0, 0 for the column and row. We have direction, and then we have the hint associated with it, and then we actually have the word. So using this, we're able to kind of pull out the rest of the data we need. I was able to build the grid around this kind of information, and then kind of just make it work. I, of course, use more types of data structures, a lot of dictionaries in the actual JS file just for the functionality here and there. But this is the main piece of data that I knew I would need from the back end. Pretty much all the rest of it I was able to uh, build up in the JavaScript file. Um, and yeah, I think this project was really helped me learn a lot about just like software design in general. Also, I've never really used GitHub before this, so working with two other people, it was really important that we understood how to use GitHub going in. We didn't want to commit over each other, undo work or anything like that. And I think I also learned a lot of communication. I've never really sat down with a couple people and just brainstormed code as hard as I did for anything like this. Just the amount of work we spent in the back end algorithm was way more complex than anything I've been able to do in my classes. So I've really enjoyed working on this, and I'm glad I got to show off kind of what it looks like. So thank you so much for listening. If you want to download the code, you can visit the repository. It's all there for you. The only thing is you'll probably need your own ChatGPT API key because I'm not giving you mine. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my project.